Jai Ho, my dear students. I am Ratnakar Suryamshi from SK Public School. See, till the last class, I am telling you, till the last class, we have learnt about the idea of Satyagraha mainly, and even we have learnt about which were the important movements led by Gandhiji, right? Mainly, we learnt about which one? About the Champaran movement of 1916. Then we learnt about which one? The Kheda movement of Gujarat when in 1917, and then we learnt about which one? The cotton mill workers movement in Ahmedabad, that too in 1918. So about all these important movements led by Gandhiji in the initial stage we have learned, and Gandhi got huge success in these. Then now coming to the next point, that is Raulath Act. See here, important point about Raulath Act I am telling you. Now what do you mean by Raulath Act? Right? See that British Council brought the Raoult Act in 1919. I mean British government brought one act in India called Raoult Act, and say it was passed through the Imperial Legislative Assembly or Council very hurriedly. I mean in a very fast, without the consent of Indian representatives. The British Imperial Legislative Council hurriedly passed a law called Raulath Act. See, according to this, I am telling the government got enormous power, unlimited power. The government got unlimited power to suppress political activities and to allow detention of political prisoners without the court trial or without trial for 2 years. I mean, without the court trial, any Indian could be arrested for 2 years. How many years? For 2 years. And without informing to the Indians their houses, or they can be arrested without the prior information. This type of enormous rights were given to the police and the British officials according to the Raoult Act of 1919. Why British brought? Because to suppress the national movement of India, freedom fight of India. Because of that, they had brought a law called Raoult Act when in 1919. And then say Mahatma Gandhi wanted non-violent civil disobedience movement against the Raoult Act. Mahatma Gandhi wanted to establish non-violence civil disobedience movement. Important point, it is not only civil disobedience movement, it was non-violent civil disobedience movement. Gandhi wanted this movement against the Raoult Act. So that's why Gandhi decided to start this non-violent civil disobedience with a hartal. With a hartal means with the rally we call, that is what we call hartal. So with the rally he wanted to start it. That too he organized, or he decided that rally or hartal should be held on 6th April. When? On April 6, 1919. So Gandhi decided to start the non-violent civil disobedience movement against the Raoult Act with the start of Hartal on 6 April. Then see, rallies were organized. Rallies, huge number of rallies, movements, hartals were organized in various cities by workers also. And even workers went on strike in railway shops, and even shops were closed down, shops were completely closed. And see, alarmed by this popular upsurge, British had a scarce, British had a fear. Why? Because the movement was spreading in almost all the cities of India. Because of that, British officials had a fear. Even they had a fear that the communication system and railway lines or the telegraph or the telegram system would be destroyed. These may be destroyed by the Indian freedom fighters. They had a fear about this. And then see, local leaders were, and important point here, see, as British had a fear at that time, what they did, the British administration, I mean British government, decided to clamp down on nationalists. I mean suppress the nationalists, suppress the freedom fighters. They decided to suppress them. Then see, to suppress the Indian freedom fighters. Now local leaders of various cities were picked up, arrested. They were arrested by the British. And then, as I told you, that local leaders were arrested, especially from Amritsar, I am telling, especially from Amritsar. And Mahatma Gandhi was also banned from entering the Amritsar. Mahatma Gandhi was not allowed to enter the Amritsar. He was barred from entering the Amritsar. And even say that not only Amritsar, Mahatma Gandhi even banned from entering the Delhi also. Banned from entering Delhi. Why? Because at that time Delhi was a capital of the British. So Mahatma Gandhi barred from entering Delhi, and on 10th April the police in Amritsar fired upon a peaceful procession. What police did say? British police fired upon the peaceful procession. Procession means Mervange campaign we call rally. Correcto? Indian freedom fighters had organized a rally, but the rally was going in a non-violent way. Not in violent, it was going in a non-violent way, but British police fired simply upon them. So because of that, Indian freedom fighters became angry, provoking by this. What they did? They attacked on banks, post offices, railway lines, railway stations, etc. Indian freedom fighters attacked. So when Indian freedom fighters attacked on these all post office or the British officers or railway stations or on banks, at that time what happened? See, General Dyer, Dyer, General Dyer, he was a commander of Amritsar. He brought a law. He imposed a law in Amritsar. That law was martial law. Which one that is? Martial law. See, I would like to tell you that General Dyer brought a law. He brought a law called martial law. Which one that is? Martial law. Who brought that? General Dyer. When Indian freedom fighters attacked on banks, or it may be railway stations, or on other British official buildings or offices, at that time they brought this which act or which law? Martial law, brought by the General Dyer in Amritsar. See, same. Now important points here. Now martial law means what? Martial law means same as we had curfew. No one should go out, shoot and sight order. If anybody comes out in a group, then police have a right to shoot them, kill them. This law was called as martial law. That law was brought in Amritsar by the General Dyer. Then on 13th April, what happens? See, on 13th April now. See, on 13th April, the infamous, badly become famous incident called Jillian Wallaby massacre took place. Jillian Wallaby incident or massacre took place. Now massacre means what? Killing of large number of people. Killing of large number of people is called massacre. So Jillian Wallaby incident or massacre took place on 13th April 1919. How it took place? See, that we will discuss now. See, on that day, I mean on 13th April, a large crowd gathered in the enclosed ground of Jallianwala Bagh. See, Jallianwala, it is a garden located near the Golden Temple of Amritsar. Near the Golden Temple of Amritsar, there is a garden called Jallianwala. Bagh means garden. So, large number of people, large crowd gathered in that garden. Which one? Jallianwala. So, Jallianwala Bagh we call. See, some people came to protest against the government, against the British government's aggressive measures, aggressive policy, and others had come. Other people, innocent people, came to the garden to celebrate their annual festival, their annual Baisakhi festival, Baisakhi fair. To celebrate the Baisakhi fair, common people, innocent people also have gathered in that garden. And being from outside the city, what happens? See, The innocent people who came to the Jallianwala Bagh, they did not know. The people who came to celebrate the Baisakhi fair in the Jallianwala Bagh, they did not know that the martial law has been imposed in Amritsar. So unknowingly they came here to celebrate the fair regularly as it was annual fair. So they were unaware about the martial law that had been imposed. And then General Dyer entered the Jallianwala Bagh with his policemen, closed all the gates. What he did, closed all the exit points. I mean, all the gates were closed and opened fire on the crowd. He ordered to shoot upon the crowd. Then see what happened. This was ended in the killing of hundreds of people of India. And see what he said. See his object. What after this, after the firing, after killing many people, after this massacre, General Dyer declared that his object, his main aim at that time was to produce a moral effect, to create in the minds of satyagrahis a feeling of terror and awe, which means he wanted to create a feeling of terror in the minds of Indian satyagrahis. That's why he did this. So this is what we call Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Then see, as the news spread, as the Jallianwala Bagh news, killing of hundreds together people, when it was spread to the various cities of India, crowds came on the streets. I mean, huge number of Indians, they came on the streets in many cities of North India, in many towns of North India. And there were strikes took place, clashes took place with the police, as well as people, Indians began to attack on the British official buildings, government buildings. The government responded with a brutal suppression. When Indians attack in other cities also, because of Jallianwala Bagh massacre, in other cities, people, angry people of India, angry freedom fighters of India, what they did? They attacked on British government officials or British buildings, as well as British government policies. Then British also responded. I mean, British took harsh step against the Indian, those who did this, and which means violence took place here, and even seeking to humiliate and terrorize the people. What they did, they humiliated, British humiliated the people, terrorized the people, and satyagrahis were forced to rub their noses. Satyagrahis were forced to rub their noses on the ground. On the ground, they were forced to rub their noses as a punishment. And even satyagrahis were forced to crawl on the streets, crawling on the streets. And they have to do salam to all sahibs. Who were sahibs here? British officers, which means to British officers, satyagrahi should salam, salute. And people were flogged, and villages, especially in, around Gujranwala in Punjab, at present it is in Pakistan, people flogged were bombed. I mean, people who opposed the British rule, people who opposed the British rule in those villages, British have bombed, British have thrown bombs, and people were flogged here. Many people were flogged means what? Chedi A2 we call in Kannada, Chedi A2. So that punishment was also given to whom? To the satyagrahis. So which means, seeing this all violence spread across the country, Mahatma Gandhi decided to call off the movement. What Mahatma Gandhi did? Mahatma Gandhi decided to stop the movement, withdraw the movement. So this is what happened in about the Raoult Act and Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So still one more point we have about this Raoult Act. Okay, and then we will start about the non-cooperation movement. So about these we will learn in the next class. Until Jai Hind. Bye bye.